The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set. Hey, welcome back. Another hot episode of the Golden Boot. It's your boy Pooh. I got my man Aunt Peter Murphy in the building. What's good with you, my boy?
What's up with it, dog?
Oh, there we go. I just wanted to make sure. What's good, my dog? Man, it's been a good day, man. I gotta give a shout out to Dylan, man. He brightened my day early this morning, man. Almost had me emotional, man. He told me he gave me this something. He told me he wanted to sign something. It was something like he had a little bookmark, and he was like, "You're my safe adult. You know, you're the person I trust the most, and you know, I love you and all this kind of stuff." So had me in my feelings early this morning before I went to work. So I just went back in the bathroom like I had to use it some more. You know, okay, had to gather myself. But kids get you every time. Get you every time. Yep. Then he called me, asked me for money later on. So it balanced itself out.
Your kid doing stuff like that. My kid doing stuff like, "Hey, Dad, I want to try out for cheerleading." I'm like, "All right, cool." Go to the meeting. Yeah, it's an estimated $2,800 to be on the cheerleading team. I'm like, man,
golly, who they cheering for? The Cowboys? God dang!
I'm starting to reconsider allowing her to try out. You know, this.
Bro, who they cheering for? The Saints?
They're going to some camp on the beach and all that kind of stuff, and that's part of it. I'm like, man, y'all can't do camping around here somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
I know that's right. I know that's real. Dog, I'm telling. We'll set up some tents. They'll do s'mores, all that kind of stuff.
Feel me, bro? We got some campgrounds around this mud, bro.
Yeah,
we got a nice little lake and everything for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel you, man. I feel you. I'm just looking at
these boys, man.
I don't even know what to say. I was gonna talk about it, man. I'm go ahead. Let's go ahead and get into it, man. We do got some special guests that'll be joining us tonight, man. I'm looking forward to talking to my guys, man. Gerald, Huggins Jr. I'm gonna wait, give his, talk about him because he got the man Jamaican. He got all them jobs. And then our good friend, man, old Zach.
We got to figure out what we're going to do with Zach, man. They get
I know. Hey, well, I figured it out. Because today a lot of people was, so I had some realizations. Jaden posted a picture of his granddaddy, and I was like, oh.
Was that his granddaddy or was that the guy that getting the tickets?
I thought that was the guy. I thought they said that was his granddad.
He
Or did I
said
might have read it
he
wrong.
said
I'm
he said as a grandson of a veteran, he's honored to give 2 tickets away to a former veteran.
oh man, listen, I was
And
looking at
so I
that.
thought that was the picture was the guy who was receiving the tickets.
Listen,
I could be
mm,
wrong though, but that's how I
I don't
interpreted
know.
it.
When I saw it, I was like, oh, okay. And then that's what made when I saw that, that's what made me think and start thinking, and that's why I sent you that about the other
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Man, you stupid, man.
Listen, today been a day, bro. I've been all over the place today, bro. It's been hilarious. But man, we got a lot to get into, man. Gotta talk about some moves that LSU made on the coaching staff. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and do we want to go there? We want to take the one way do the bell line ad. Well,
Go
before
ahead
I
and do that
guess
and get let's go ahead and do the well, we can do that. We can do that.
do that. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it. LSU beefs up the coaching staff, bro. Today, LSU added in Alex Atkins as the former offensive coordinator at Florida State. He will be the run game coordinator and also the tight ends coach. LSU fans, that's who you asked for. Who we wanted the tight ends coach, and boom, you got one of the best in the game, in Alex Atkins. Also, LSU added didn't specify the role. I'm guessing it's gonna be a analyst role, but they added
Mhm.
Idri, former defensive coordinator from Miami. I know he was fired from Miami, but I do want to point this out, LSU fans. Your current defensive coordinator was also fired from Miami. So don't take that as, you know what I'm saying, because one person was fired that all of a sudden they're not good at their job.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, anybody can have one bad year. We've seen a lot of great coordinators have down years. So I'm not going and he's not the DC for LSU, so I'm not too much worried
Um,
about what happened last year in Miami. I'm more so looking at it like you got another defensive mind in there on that side of the ball who can help game plan, who can help watch film, who can help break things down, and who's got experience coaching multiple positions on the defense, who can step in and on the field role and help out with the safeties or whatever the case may be.
mhm.
Um, so I think anytime you can add a person of that caliber to the staff. I mean, we saw Saban do it time after time. You know what I mean? Like, so I
Right.
think this is very Saban-esque of Brian Kelly bringing both of these guys on. And one thing you didn't mention about Atkins, yeah, he's a good offensive line coach who was previously offensive coordinator. He's a pretty darn good recruiter as well, and that's one of the reasons
Facts.
Solomon Thomas was going to Florida State was for him, and he was instrumental in LSU ultimately landing Solomon Thomas. So I'm not really surprised that that Solomon Thomas was very happy to see him, land at LSU.
Mhm.
But I think what he can do as far as helping the run game, which we all know struggled last year, I think could be big for this offense. And not to mention previously offensive coordinator, so you're bringing in another guy on this side who's got experience making game plans and things of that nature.
Also, I think this is big with Atkins. It's huge in the fact that it gives you somebody who, when Florida State was rolling, the not last year but the year before 23, with that run game they had. This is somebody who's going to be able to come in and help with our run game, call, saying help with some of those, saying run calls and schemes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you look at it, when you watch the bowl game, I can't, or even the last few weeks of the season, it's hard for me to put any blame on just saying, oh, it's just the offensive line. The offensive line is bad. Um,
Yeah.
we start seeing them moving the ball and gaining ground, or gaining yards on the ground like that, picking up first downs, getting big runs. It's makes me think that maybe there was something with the scheme, and you got somebody here coming in to help with that game plan. Another thing you mentioned about Solomon Thomas, if you remember, when Atkins was let go and Solomon Thomas was I think decommitted. He talked to Atkins, and Atkins kind of referenced, hey, he told me he's thinking about LSU. Coach Atkins kind of said, hey, that might not be a bad look. I wonder if it was something. No.
I wasn't gonna go there, but yeah,
I ain't saying, listen, I know it ain't tampering. Of course, I know
no,
he's
it
not
ain't
necessarily, he didn't
tampering,
know,
what I mean?
but
Yeah.
maybe if he was like, maybe that's somewhat a look, but I'm just saying, I think it's a good fit. Also, we didn't talk about this before, but another coach that is coming to LSU, filling the spot, Amon Anand, Grambling special teams coordinator. He's set to join. He joined the staff as well. Didn't necessarily specify a role, but I'm guessing it's going to be an analyst role. Is special teams coordinator and analyst form. Now with the rule that analysts can be on field coaches as well, I think that's huge here. It's going to really help Grambling. And if you look at their rankings for special teams amongst FCS and also amongst D1, they were up there. They were, if I'm not mistaken, they were top 10 in a lot of categories in FCS and top 50 in D1. So that's huge, a huge addition. Have somebody who's going to be dedicated to that phase of the game. That's going to be, like I said, a huge improvement. Considering what we saw last year, we were able to get some return kicks, 2 for touchdowns. We were able to get some good field goal position. Field position. The only thing that I think we will need to work on is and LSU fans kind of had a gripe on was field goal kicking with the snapper, the holder, and that transition
punting as well. Punting also, bro. We didn't punt very well, bro. Like we didn't punt for good distance. You know what I mean? Like we had good coverage.
I was thinking more about I was thinking more of the coverage, but yeah, distance wise,
coverage
I
was
get
good,
it.
but distance wise, that was terrible.
Yeah. So, looking forward to having that addition. I want to ask this, and since we're talking about the adding of the coaching staff, our good man L. Jeezy brought it up in the chat. These are 2 coaches out in the ACC.
Yeah,
and we play Clemson. I'm not saying that necessarily. I'm not saying they came in for that.
I think that's a coincidence.
But
I think
it's
it's more
huge.
so the
you got a DC.
It is though, but for one game, you know what I mean. I think think it's bigger. I think the bigger factor is the fact that you got 2 coordinators.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I like
to me, that's the big. Except for the fact that they happen to be in the same conference as your week 1 opponent helps, but you didn't get them for that reason. You know what I mean?
Oh no.
That week 1 game
I know
don't
that.
mean nothing. You know what I mean?
It means something.
What does it mean in the grand scheme of things?
I think the optics of it. It's not necessarily the grand scheme.
Clemson lost week 1 and made the playoffs.
That's okay. I get that. But this was the point I'm talking about. The optics of it, of LSU hadn't won a week 1 since 2019.
Oh, you talking about like that. BK don't care about that.
Fans do.
Fans care about things that don't matter to the program.
Okay.
That's why fans want coaches fired whenever they're not even on the hot seat.
That's fair. That's true.
If you told BK, if you told BK you can win week 1, but you're gonna miss the playoffs, or you could lose week 1, but you're gonna make the playoffs, which one you think he's taking?
I think even if you ask fans that we know which one they'll take.
So let me ask you this: things, how important is week 1?
But when you have, let me ask, if you say you're gonna lose week 1 for a 6th straight year, and you talk about all this money that people have been putting up, the re-energized, fan base, everybody's coming out and they're hyped up about the season. How you? I mean, that matters into a fan base.
It's not a good look, but at the same time, if you lose week 1, then win 11 straight games, nobody's gonna care that you lost week 1.
I get that.
The end of the season result is what matters.
That's fair.
That's all I'm saying. You going all in for the whole season. You're not going all in to beat Clemson.
I'm not.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not arguing that point, but what I'm saying is the optics of it still matter.
Not in the grand scheme of things, bro.
Okay. All right.
That's what because if you lose week 1, then you make the playoffs, nobody's gonna care that you lost week 1. The what really matters is what happens at the end of the season. Are you in the playoffs or are you not in the playoffs? That's what matters. Yeah, you would love to win week 1 so everybody would be quiet about not winning week 1 games. But if you lose, you still got all your goals are still on the table.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Let's just briefly talk about this because we got, we do got our guests in here. Game LSU just played against Auburn.
You gotta talk about that shit.
I will say the atmosphere, it seemed like it was it was buzzing.
It was a lot of Auburn people in there.
It was
at least it sounded like it. They was like every time Auburn did something good, it sounded loud in there. And maybe that was just me, but
I just felt like,
man, they just not good.
We kill ourselves, bro.
They're just not good, bro. I'm sorry, man.
All right, man. Let's go ahead and get it. Let's go ahead and get to it. We're gonna give a shout out to our sponsors from BetOnline. BetOnline.ag. We'll be back in 1 minute with our special guest. BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your sports information, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds, lines, and player injury reports for this year's NBA and NHL playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters. This season, we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. We have everything from NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL to golf, tennis, UFC, and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games that you can play right from your home. Head on over to betonline.ag today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use the promo code BLEAV to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey, it's been a minute, but we got our boys back with us. Hey, we was talking earlier, and you said we got to figure out what we're gonna do it with Zach with all the
man.
I figured it out, man. If you gotta, I had to do some research. I found out Zach's middle name is Jamal Jenkins, so we good there. But we got our guy Zach with us, owner of Sports Illustrated FCS Football Central. And then we got, listen, we had some updates. This dude then changed his resume. I would read down this list, but we only got an hour show. Got to welcome back to the stage, man. Our good man, Mr. Gerald Huggins Jr., lead scout for draft HBCU players, scouting assistant for the Shrine Bowl, Aeneas Williams and Thorpe Award voter, and now director of football operations and video coordinator for the what they call it, the Crown Treasure, Morgan State University. Our good man Gerald, and like I said, we got Zach in the building. Welcome back, fellas. We ain't got the hand claps on it. Oh, hold on, we have the hand claps?
Nah, I just looked for them. We ain't got them.
We ain't got the hand. I gotta add that back. But fellas, welcome. Glad to have y'all back, man. What's been up with y'all?
Shoot, man. Me and Zach been texting back and forth for the past 2 weeks, man. Just getting prepared for what we saw the past few days, and we gonna have something to say because we're very impressed by our guys going against these, out of this world P4 guys. But I'll let Zach speak on his behalf.
Yeah, man. Busy. That's it. I appreciate you guys having us though.
Hey, listen, I could. It's funny because Ant said we was talking Sunday. I said we're going Wednesday or Thursday. He said, "Do we have anything to talk about?" I said, "I know we could talk about it. We got the Shrine Bowl and Senior Bowl." I didn't expect. Well, we didn't expect necessarily LSU to announce some coaching hires and stuff and have that going as well. All kind of other sports news that came out, but when it came for Shrine Bowl, Senior Bowl, I was like, I know who we need to hit up, get on here. I got one complaint. Who we need to talk to so we can get these two bowl games separated again so we can actually
Yeah.
Listen.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, if some of these national scouts can't do it, man, nothing we can do for you.
Yeah, I can't do it.
But like, how y'all decide which one y'all going to?
Well, I work for one of them, so
Yeah. That's true.
And to be fair, if Mobile didn't get record amount of snow and all my flights got canceled, I was going to do half the week at Shrine, half the week at Senior Bowl.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
hey. D-Lob he'll mess with you. Introduce you. He said crickets. just joking. And then, of course, our good man Chuck in the building. But man, first, before we really get too deep into pause, going into the conversation, Gerald, congratulations. I don't think we talked to you since you know what I'm saying, made it over to Morgan State. I know that was kind of, a dream thing for you, being over there at your pops alma mater.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations on that. When do you sleep?
I get about 5 hours now after the season ended, so 5 hours a night. So that's a step in the right direction. I think that's pretty normal. I get 5.
It's normal for military people for a certain extent of time. Basic training.
5 hours is crazy, bro.
Yeah, I got used to it, man. I ain't saying it's healthy, but it's just
I got you. You gotta do what you gotta do, huh?
That man life is sponsored by energy drinks.
It's a beer, by the
way. Zach, man, I know y'all got snow. I actually ended up making it down there last weekend to run errands and stuff for the family. And I forget, I was literally thinking, I said, man, we talked about it on the show Sunday. I told Ant, I was like, I remember Senior Bowl growing up. I was like, I always loved it, but I got tired of seeing Art Shell and Mike Dicker every year in poor weather because it's always the worst teams in the NFL. So it was always the Raiders and the Bears, and it was always raining or it was freezing cold. But it's changed a lot. It's not at Ladd anymore. It's now at Hancock Whitney. But what's the atmosphere now this year compared to, I guess, previous years?
I don't know, man. Like, I'll say this: I get why they had to change it, just because of the media presence at all these All-Star games. Man, the East-West Shrine has exploded in popularity, media presence. The seniors the same way. I remember one of the first years I ever covered the Senior Bowl. Man, we used to just be on the sidelines during practice. Like, we could walk on the field, talk to players during practice. Now, like, it's not the case, and like the media, I guess, access is a lot more limited. I do think it's a better environment in Hancock Whitney. Just Ladd, I think it's tough to get to in Mobile. You know this with the traffic getting down there, and there's not a whole lot of space and not very good parking. So like they've done a good job with that. But listen, man, I mean, I think with the East-West Shrine and the Senior Bowl, those are going to be the two games where you get to see all the top prospects go against each other. So I think the atmosphere is always going to be there. As long as you got a few quarterbacks that have a lot of hype. I almost said elite, but none of the guys at any of the All-Star games are elite at quarterback. As long as you got some big names like the Milrose and the Shador going to the East-West Shrine, even though we didn't play, like you're going to have the media presence and you're going to have guys that explode. You got the guys from the FCS that always jump on radars, like the Gray Zables. A few years ago, the Cody Malks and et cetera. Carson Vincent's balling out, but then you also got the G5 guys, the Mike Greens, and the guys like that no one really knows about. I mean, they know about them, but not to the level they should. And man, just seeing those guys in this atmosphere is great, man. And I always like to see we all, especially me and G, watching so much film. It's good to finally see like what would Carson Vincent do against Shamar Stewart, because we would never got that matchup during the season. How would Gray Zabel go up against a kid from Virginia Tech or Mike Green or whoever it might be? Those are matchups you don't get to see. And so seeing the one-on-one, seeing how they work at different positions from center to guard to tackle, and all these guys showing the versatility is big, man. And I think it really makes these games exciting for guys like me and Gerald, who have watched these guys since they were freshmen come up throughout the ranks and, man, be able to show it on the biggest stage.
So other small school guys, I can't remember the kid name. I saw the D3 kid who interior offensive lineman. Yeah, man. Hey.
Yeah.
That kid looked like he could play with the big boys, man. Looked like he was holding his own out there.
Funny story. I go work out the first day they have practice. I go in the morning workout. Me and my boy Joe, he's also with Shrine. We in the weight room. I just finished up and I walk out. I just see this big dude walking down the hallway, pads in his hand, jersey on already, just ready. He walked in the weight room, and my boy Joe was like, "Yeah, he's about to go get a lift in," and he was just like, "Nah, I'm just getting in to get a little quick sweat, about to go stretch." This is a very meticulous young man, though. He was very structured in his approach. He walked a certain way. He talked a certain way. You could tell he came from a situation where the football may not have been as good, the coaching may not have been as good, but you just see those kids that are raised right. It's kind of like the kid Chris Paul from Ole Miss. You just see a kid that was raised right, the way they talk, the way they carry themselves. So when he got on the field, at first, he got those jitters out, but after that, they said this kid is they said he might be one of the strongest kids in the draft. When Mayweather put a stamp on you, when Duke put a stamp on you, that means something. So if Duke's saying it, chances are the kid's pretty good. That's like if Coach Jordan, the pass rush specialist, if he said the guy's good, or Chuck Smith said the guy's good, chances are the guy's good. So this kid's gonna get a legit shot. I'm not sure if he got an NFL Combine invite or not. I wouldn't be shocked if he does. But if he does, I'm pretty sure the bench, he'd probably be number one at bench. They said the kid is that. He's a unit.
The videos I saw, he was straight stonewalling, man. And it looked like he got good. It looked like he got a good lower body as far as anchoring. You know what I'm saying? He looked like his technique pretty good. I know he come from a lower level, but it looked like he know what he's supposed to do. You know what I mean? As far as technique and things like that. Like the team around him probably wasn't that good, but he looked like a true diamond in the rough type guy.
They found him one, so I'll give him credit for that. That's what Shrine is known for. They find the gems. They find those day 3 guys end up being Hall of Famers for the most part. Some just being all Pro Bowl. I love that for them. It was the draft. I mean, yes, obviously the first round picks, second round picks are very important, but those day 3 guys, those are the ones that are the core of your team for the most part. So when you get a good hit rate on that, it just shows you have a good department of scouts doing what they're supposed to do. So I'm happy to be a part of that. I did the Sun Belt and the ACC, so I was happy to see a lot of the guys in person myself.
Zach, speaking of those hidden gems, one from up this way, Huntsville, is making a lot of noise down there. Mr. Vincent, Carson Vincent from Alabama A&M, has been holding his own. But, and I guess this is kind of a 2-part because I'm asked this. Are we seeing just social media reps? And by what I mean by that, we talked about this last year when it was the viral moment when the kid from LSU, I forget the other kid, they got into the little scuffle, and everybody, you know, saying talked about that. So are we just seeing these social media reps, or is he actually really killing it down there?
No, I mean he's having a really really good week. I mean, obviously the reason that Shamar Stortman went viral is that was so to end the practice, both teams they have one-on-ones to determine which team like loses the day. So they'll have a running back versus a safety or linebacker. They'll have a tight end versus a safety, a wide receiver, DB, offensive guard versus interior defensive lineman, and then a tackle versus the end. It was even, and it was Vincent versus Shamar Stewart to see who won. And listen, he held his own against a guy who just right before we jumped on the show, supposedly Shamar Stewart opted out for the rest of the week, man. He's headed to the house. He feel like he's proved enough, getting a lot of first round buzz, and Vincent won that one-on-one rep. But you know, like me and G have talked about, I do think there's a bit of I just don't understand why every year we have to go through this process of people being shocked that prospects from HBCUs and FCS are good. Like, can we skip that step next year? Can we just expect because listen, North Dakota State in the next 2 years is probably going to have another guy who looks just like Gray Zabel, who's going to probably play guard and be really damn good. Can we stop acting like we don't expect that guy to be really good when he gets to Mobile or gets to Dallas for the Shrine? That's the frustration for me. But also, too, these guys haven't been scouted enough. Like, I do feel like the edge rushers don't know the weaknesses. And me and Gerald texted about this earlier this week. We know what Vincent struggled with at Alabama A&M. But guess what? None of the edge rushers have used what he struggled with at A&M. They just keep trying to finesse him, and Carson Vincent's too athletic. He's too long to be finessed in one-on-ones. Now, he did get powered today. He held up pretty well, got driven back a little bit. That he struggled with the bull rush a little bit, but listen, man, he's proven what he needs to prove. He did really, really good in the team portions, getting up to the second level, sealing off, footwork's there. The measurables are outrageous. Guys, like I talked to him tonight, and I'll be dropping the interview tomorrow. That kid is a legit like 6'6", 6'7".
Yeah.
Every bit of it. There is no and really and truly it frustrates me because in my opinion, he should be a no-brainer draft pick just because of his measurables and the intangibles that he has. But we're sitting here like, what other school would a 6'7" guy his size with that arm length with his production not get drafted? I don't know because you guys know if he had an LSU sticker on the side of his helmet, you know what they would say? He's a great project, man. We just got to get him. We got to get him late day 2, early day 3. Get him in the building. We can coach him up. But like our guys don't get that same type of, I guess, pass there. But I'll say this: I've been hearing some really good things. I still think he falls in that day 3 category if he does get picked up. I just think day 2 is too steep because I do think this is a pretty solid offensive line class, and that's going to hurt him a little bit. There's some really good guys coming out this year, and one of the other ones is obviously Zabel, Jackson Slater, but all the small school guys, man, killed it offensive line. Vincent was kind of up there with the top, but Clay Webb from Jacksonville State, Jackson Slater from Sac State. I mean, the list goes on, man, but Vincent did everything he could this week to improve his stock, man. And we'll see tomorrow because there'll be some more one-on-ones tomorrow. We'll see the game, but he went out there with the first group. He's going to get a lot of reps on Saturday, man. I'm excited to see kind of what he does in that game action a little bit more because I've seen all the one-on-ones I've needed to see at this point.
Yeah. So that's why the title, I don't know if you pay attention, can't hide talent. Because that's we always say every time we talk about it, you can't hide talent. Yeah, so
you can't. And you know what? It's crazy, right? I heard the stat, but I didn't think about it. I'm not a huge production guy when it comes to scouting to an extent, but you're Shamar Stewart, you're 6'6", 290, but you look like you're 265, and you have a defensive line that's pretty loaded. You just expect more production. So we have a 6'6", 290 edge rusher from the SEC with 4.5 career sacks that lost reps to a guy like Carson Vincent, who's legit been one of the best FCS offensive tackles for 3-4 years. One guy's going to go first round, and the other guy, I'm not even sure going to get drafted. That's where we're at.
And everyone says Shamar had a great week and talk about how amazing he was. But those same people aren't giving the same credit to Vincent. Now, there are a lot of people giving Vincent credit. I'm just saying, but like G said, the level of hype is different.
Yeah, it's just end of the day, these guys,
the helmet scout,
they don't find out about these guys until late. But luckily for me and Zach, it's on paper. So go track it. Go track it. Go track our tweets. Go track our articles. We've been talking about him for 3-4 years, and I think he came in 2020. So this
COVID year.
Yeah, so I've been watching him since 21. So he's always been one of my favorites. So I'm happy for him. Like Zach said, go ahead and keep trying to do finesse moves against him. Good luck. You gonna help his stock, and I love that for him because he deserves everything that he does well. He's doing at Senior Bowl. From what I've seen, from what Zach's telling me, that's what I like to see. Highlight the things that you do well. So, like, I know at the Shrine, Aaron didn't really get to practice. I'm not going to disclose that information. I'll let him release that on his own. But he couldn't practice. But me and him were talking. I said, like, listen, if you're able to practice, the idea is you want to be able to highlight and showcase the things that you're really good at. But also, you want to kind of show scouts that, like, hey, because we all know, like, Aaron Smith, his thing was, like, getting off blocks. But, hey, he's more of a run-hit backer. So what he would need, it's a kind of a system that, hey, I got 3 huge guys in front of me. I can run around free, make tackles, be athletic. And that's what he was going to do. But unfortunately, he couldn't practice. And then you have like a Marcus Ware, who I text Zach. I'm like, yo, this kid is killing. God, this kid is killing. Kid from Montana State. He is killing. He played guard, center. The anchor was there. He's punching dudes, stifling. They couldn't finish their rush against guys from the SEC, ACC, you name it. I was ecstatic for him. He was probably outside of, what's funny? We were talking about Efton Chisholm. Zach brought him up, and I still got to do my write. I got to finish my write-up on him. So I got to see him in person. So that was a blessing. I usually don't get to see guys in person. I saw him in person. The kid, he may not test well. He might run 4.6. But for some reason, he's always open. He's one of those guys that don't kill one-on-ones. Anytime he is routing guy, he gets open versus zone. He gets open versus press. He gets open versus man. I just like guys that get open. That's why my favorite receivers I scouted this year are Jacoby George from Miami and Kenoda Mumfield from Pittsburgh. I like guys that get open. The 50-50 ball is fun. It looks good, but it's not consistent. Those guys that know how to run routes last a very long time. So Efton legit has it's crazy. All it takes. Sometimes all it takes 1 week. Now, like I told Zach earlier, the All-Star game is added to the process, but it doesn't overlap everything I saw on film. So I'm trying to not get caught up in the hype. Like Zabel, now I will say with Zabel, he's an outlier with that one.
Yeah.
It might have been something because I may have graded him as a tackle, like more of a tackle than I should have just graded him straight as a guard. And with his arm length, I think he had maybe 33 arms, which is a little short considering he's,
6'5".
Yeah. So that's pretty short arm length. So he's gonna have to play center or guard. But man, what I saw, everything he did in the run game at tackle, he did at guard, and it's so much easier for him. He looks so much more natural as a guard. So it wouldn't shock me if he might be the first FCS guy off the board. Definitely with Charles Grant. He didn't show up, right, Zach?
Yeah, so I talked to someone, and they didn't want to necessarily disclose, but it sounds like he got an injury in training. And it was like a late. He just couldn't come.
Oh, that sucks, dog.
Yeah, I talked to the director of personnel tonight and asked him about it. He goes, I want to let players announce it, but he was like, it happens in training. You pull something, you tweak something. I was like, you say less. I know it. I get it. And he could have used this week because he would have killed this week. Because to me, he was probably the most consistent FCS guy coming out just from freshman year to now. And also too, he's just like Carson, where he would have had all the measurables too. And so he would have had a great week. And for him not to go kind of hurts because our consensus number one started off the week really bad with the measurables. David Walker is kind of like an Aubrey Miller situation where he was listed at 6'2", came in more at 6 feet, and he's an edge rusher. But in one-on-ones, he's still winning, which makes no sense.
He's like, just think of Elvis Dumerville.
Yeah.
Probably going to be my ceiling comp for him, which is a really good ceiling, by the way.
Yeah.
Elvis was probably, maybe 6 feet? 270-pound edge rusher, but leverage wins. And speaking of leverage, kind of someone may know where I'm going with this. High school coaches, I'm sorry, I got to get this out. High school coaches, please, for the love of God. Willie Lampkin is now on your football team. Don't send me any kids thinking, no, I don't want a 5'10", 260-pound center or guard. Leave me alone. I don't know. Like there are always going to be outliers. That's amazing. There's a reason why he's at UNC. That is not common. if there's no Willie Lampkins playing in the Power 4. So please don't use him as a tool to try and convince coaches like, hey, come get one of your little dogs. Stop. I just had to put that out there. I know I tweeted it, but I just got to make sure I say that out loud. We don't. It's one, maybe two Willie Lampkins every decade. Stop. Like they knocked Kelsey for being 6'1", 290. So we're not doing this 5'11", 270 center guard thing. He is an outlier, a really good one, but an outlier. So I just had to put that out there. So I just had to put that. Whew, it was on my heart, dog. It was on my heart. It was killing. High school coaches been tweeting it all day. Golly, they gonna run that boy name into the ground. It's sickening. All right, I'm done.
Hey, so Zach, we talked about Vincent on the offensive line, kind of making a name for himself. There's a few LSU offensive linemen there who've kind of had a roller coaster week in terms of I've seen some reps looked pretty good, and I've seen some reps where they're getting ragdolled. What is the consensus kind of about the LSU offensive lineman down there in Mobile?
I'll be like I don't know any projections for them because I've been spending most of my time kind of looking at the FCS guys. I'll say this, I would. Okay, as much as, like Gerald said, putting too much stock into one-on-ones is a little bit iffy, just because you can have a bad week, right, and still be a decent player. I would say this. I would say, one, you got to study who they're going against, like who beat them. If it's the projected first-round guy who's beating everybody, I can maybe understand that, right? But if it's a guy who undersized, not on anyone's radar, and he's losing rep after rep after rep, and also too, how is he losing? Is it bad footwork? Is it not getting his hands off quick enough? Is it slow to the punch? Is it just getting pushed off the ball? Things like that. I'll say this: the defensive line group that was here, and really, and Shrine Bowl has some too. They're really good. And I think it was going to be a long day for a lot of offensive linemen. And man, let's just say this: Gerald played D line, I played O line. You get got sometimes.
Yeah,
you really do. Listen, because the tackle that Mike Green took his soul today on the field, that dude is really good.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
That tackle is really good.
Lord.
Day 2 guy, possibly early day 3. It was just, listen, Mike Green sometimes can go make a play like that, and he just happened to be on the other end of that. And so I would say for the LSU guys, just it depends on what their film says. I haven't watched it, so I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know everything about them. But I would say for fans who might be panicking, do a little bit of research into who they were going against their whole week and kind of put like a full picture together. Because listen, there are too many clickbait accounts out there on social media that will post 1 or 2 clips and make a whole narrative around it. Jalen Milroe will bounce the ball, and now all of a sudden he's 0 for 12 at the Senior Bowl, which wasn't true. And you guys know how it is. So I would say be careful with some of these NFL draft accounts. There's a money-making scheme out there on social media right now.
Let me ask y'all this: what as scouts, what do y'all take more stock into, like the one-on-ones or like this and stuff like that?
Depends on position, right? A little bit.
Yeah, because like for me and Zach, you play O-line, and definitely with the way offenses are now, it's rare an edge rusher is going to get a clean rush like that. Like you're going to get chipped if you're good, and then they might slide to you. So one-on-one. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be one-on-one situations. It's unavoidable at left and right tackle. Even if you have a 3 tech over you, you're going to get your one-on-one. But for the most part, one-on-ones just show me. I just want to see your ability to hand fight in a one-on-one as a defensive line. I want to see your punch ability as an offensive lineman. And the guys that really don't have a rush plan, they only do one thing. They try to run through you. You can tell. As soon as they come off, you can tell they don't have a plan. So I just want to see offensive linemen stifle guys like down the senior. I saw they were doing it. And I saw it more than enough times down here at Shrine. When they don't have a rush plan, they get stifled every single time. And then Zach, as you remember, I know you saw the play with the guy from Oregon. He was going against AZ Thomas. Like he went across the whole field where linebackers would have been rerouting, all types of mess with that. It's like, what do you want the corner to do? Like, so my idea, like I told my boy Nuts, he's like, yo, you just want to make sure they're not, it's like 10 yards of separation. Like they're there, cool. But I mean, you running digs without any fear of anybody coming from the other side. It's not fair. So it's like a lot of these things I will say edge is really gauged. And one-on-one's really gauged for edge rushers and receivers because they're most alike to me. Just like offensive linemen and DBs are very alike. They got to find a way to be strong, just as strong as they are forward. They got to do the same thing backwards and same thing with speed when it comes to DB. So I think it's geared towards the other side to win those. But those team periods are hard because Zach knows, and he'll probably say it here. Offensive line is a continuity thing. Like, if we don't have a feel for each other, it's not going to look right. So I would say, once again, it's geared more towards them defensive linemen. These are Senior Bowl, Shrine Bowl, All-Star games. Defensive linemen and corners, usually not defensive line and receivers usually go crazy because it's not as much rhyme or reason to it. They just got to just, for the most part, out-athlete most guys or just out-technical most guys for the most part.
Yeah, because like Gerald said, like, you're never going to get, like, how many times does Shamar Stewart come off the edge without anybody paying attention to him, and it's just you as Shamar Stewart on the outside, and he could just do what he wants. And then also with corners, okay, so me being an O-line, D-line guy, like, I would rather watch that. But like the wide receiver DB drills, and I've talked to my guy Coach Fred about this, who's a wide receiver coach, and he calls it and one mixtaping, where they just at the line and they're crossing their feet and doing all this crazy stuff. Like, man, you can't do that in a game. You're gonna get your head taken off at the line of scrimmage, doing all that. So a little bit unrealistic, right? But I think so for tackles and edge rushers, I do like the one-on-ones just to see how they handle the speed, handle some physicality. Interior, I'm looking at the punch. I want my interior guys to have a big punch, make an impact. Can you get the offensive lineman off his spot? And that's something I want to see. But team drills for guards are way more important to me than any other position. How do you work your way to the second level, and can you reach guys? Reaching guys is one of the hardest things to do, especially against athletic linebackers. And if I can see in the team drill, because all the team drills are really running the football, can you get to your spot? And and that's what separates the good guards from the average guards, the mediocre guards, and things like that. Because listen, if we're running, you can't reach the mic, and he makes the play. I don't care what you did in one-on-ones. Now he can't run the football because you're too slow to get to the mic, and you don't know how to work to the second level. You don't know how to combo block. You don't. There's so many things. There's also footwork too, especially on the interior of the offensive line, and then tackles too. Can you seal the backside off? Can you work up to the second level? And then they run a bunch of screens. Can you get out in space and block a corner? Can you get in front of a safety? Things like that. And also too, the one drill I hate: linebackers versus running backs, one-on-ones. I put zero stock in that. I don't care. Listen, man, how many times have y'all seen a Mike linebacker have to go one-on-one with like a Marcus Yarns in space, and he gets to do whatever route he wants, and just out there? Come on, man. That is so unrealistic. I mean, you got like Sam Backers out there having to cover freaking Dylan Lobby, running like a 4-4. It's like, what are we doing?
I would say I was blessed to have, I think, one of the best coverage backers in my group for Shrine. So I was blessed because I would say between Chris Paul and Francis, I always mess his last name up. So I'm just going to say Francisco from Miami. Those are really good pass defending backers. So I was blessed, but those other guys, it wasn't fair. Like, it's just like, what do you want? What do you want a 6'2", 240-pound backer to do against Brashard Smith from SMU? Jesus Christ, he used to be a receiver. That's a win every time. Marcus Young, Marcus Yarns. I'm sorry. Yeah. He's pretty much he's like a receiver out the backfield. It's not fair. Definitely, if you get them, they can run an angle route, they can run outs, wheels. Now, granted, linebackers have to cover. Granted, but at the end of the day, linebackers show their best coverage skills, and most of the league runs 70% zone anyway. So you just got to just drop to your zone and just look serviceable. You don't have to be elite. You would like them to be elite, but everybody's not gonna be Fred Warner. That's one of one.
Got them out there running man-on-man press coverage against no. I mean, guys, y'all saw Isaiah Land. They had Isaiah Land out there trying to cover like Tajay Spears out of the backfield, one-on-one, running like angle routes. It's like, what are we? What?
Like, why? What are we trying? What are we getting out of that? But all in all, the FCS guys showed up. I am very happy for them. They did everything they're supposed to do. We had some snubs, of course, but for the ones that were there, they did exactly what they were supposed to do.
Yeah. We talked and you mentioned earlier, Zach, about the having the narratives. I'm gonna be honest. I have some bias against Milroe. I do. I honestly think he should have came back for another year, personally. Is Milroe this year? I think he should have came. Let me clarify. I think he should have came back. I don't think he should have came back to Bama, but I think he should have went back to college somewhere. But
where though?
No, that's the problem. I don't think there's anywhere.
That's the question. That's the $1 million.
I don't think there was anywhere. But let me ask this. Last year during the Senior Bowl practice, Bo Nix had struggles. He was drafted, did well in the NFL. We've seen one or two social media reps where Milroe has, had some struggles and stuff. Is Milroe this year's Bo Nix?
I don't think so. I mean, just me personally. I mean, I wasn't even a big Bo Nix fan, so like, listen. If you would have told me Bo Nix did what he did in the league this year, I probably wouldn't have believed you. So maybe I'm wrong on that. But like, one, they're two totally different quarterbacks, and Nix was a much more polished passer than Milroe was, and I think there's, to me, bro. I saw a mock draft today where the Giants went Milroe at 3. If he goes number
we talked about that on Sunday. There's no way. No way.
No, that would be the worst pick in the franchise. Like, that's worse than picking Daniel Jones first round. I mean, because let's just be honest. If you draft a quarterback in the top 10, you expect him to start next year. Can y'all see Milroe starting in the NFL next year?
No,
I don't. I said it. I don't see Milroe starting in the UFL next year.
I can't say that. They're not gonna let that happen. I'm sorry, that's not gonna happen. But he's gonna get a shot. Now,
I think he'll get a shot.
Does he deserve it? That's up to the people that want to draft him. I guess my thing with quarterbacks. Well, see, quarterbacks is very like situations matter. It really does. Like that's like the biggest. That's Bo Nix went into like the perfect. Like Sean Payton got Taysom Hill and Drew Brees all in one. That was perfect for him. He is not doing that on a lot of other teams. That's when you throw that generational word, generational guys that you like, okay, I throw him on any team. Andrew Luck, like
Cam Newton.
Yeah, Cam, like you just figure it out. You could do that. You weren't doing that with a lot of quarterbacks that have come out the past few years. Now, Jaden, I mean, golly.
He's good.
I mean, shoot. Like
I'm glad you said that. Because
I listened to Emery Hunt, and he made me like really go back into my reports and look at my film. Like he just said that clutch gene thing really matters to him, and it translated with with Daniels. It translated. The dude he was just so clutch. He was like one of the most outside of Mahomes. Obviously, we all know he's the clutchest guy ever. But outside of him, Daniels, you just like had a feeling like every time they got the ball with some time left, they were gonna figure it out. And now I'm looking at the other quarterbacks. I'm like, oh no, I don't like it. I don't like it. Like Cam is probably the only one I just really legit has the most ice in his veins out of all the quarterbacks here. Like the kid, he's so what's the word? He's oblivious in the pocket, and I think that's a blessing and a curse. But Blue would tell you, Zach can tell you, he's been like that since Incarnate Word.
Yeah,
this is true for a lot of people. I get
it's like he forgets he's playing in the game. Like it just like I really feel like there's this elevator music going on in his head in the pocket sometimes. He's just chilling, pockets collapsing around him. He's just flat-footed in the pocket, just chilling. No worries.
He just rips it.
Yeah. I'm glad, Jared. I'm glad you said that because I was gonna bring this. I was gonna wait a little bit later. If I'm not mistaken, tell Malik he gotta see us. Jordan Love is his ceiling. You remember when he said Malik? You said, hey, Malik said Jaden Daniels ceiling. Oh, don't worry, I got receipts. I kept that one.
I don't have a comp for Jalen. I can't think of a legit comp for Jalen right now. He's so body type wise, but the way he moves and first of all, he's another one that I don't think we're ever going to see him run full speed. The dude might be a 4.3 guy. We just won't ever see it. Like
Yeah.
I saw Lamar maybe hit 75%. The day he runs 100%, he might hurt himself. Not gonna lie, I think he's that fast. He's like Bo Jackson type acceleration, might hurt himself. I think Jaden is the same way. Like he didn't run his 40, but I believe him when he said he could beat all his receivers, like Brian Robinson, Malik Neighbors. I believe it. So I don't know. Like you say Vic, but Vic wasn't that tall, and I don't think Vic had the arm. Ooh, let me say this right, because that's my people. We what's the word? Okay, how do I say it? He had the stronger arm, but Jaden is way more talented. He has way more arm talent, I guess. Like he's more active.
He got more touch and with his deep ball than Vic did. Like Vic, Vic could swing it 80 yards, but it might not be right there on the money. Like Jaden seemed like he handed it off 60 yards away.
You know what's funny? Like going
right
back because you guys both know this. I had Jaden as QB1 in the class. Like I was not sold on Caleb. I was like, bro, go watch Jaden's film from Arizona State. He was still that guy. His team just sucked. But I mean, man, Jaden is just a different level of athlete, man. And like Gerald said, you can't account for the winning and the clutch gene, because that was my biggest knock on Caleb was, or you went to USC and you couldn't win. I don't want to hear about any defenses. You were at USC and couldn't win.
I don't know if y'all remember when I made this. My bad. Go ahead, Ed.
I think the biggest thing for Jaden is his poise and his composure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's why he's so clutch, because he's not rattled by the situation. You know, like y'all talked about Cam Ward just kind of being oblivious to the situation. To me, that's kind of how Jaden is. Like they show him in the huddle down 6 with 48 seconds, and he looked like he just out there playing 7-on-7. You know what I mean? Like he don't look like he's ever like the moment's too big for him. You know, it might just be that California kid in him. You know what I mean? Where he just too cool, too laid back or whatever. But you know, whatever it is about him, he don't seem to get rattled by the moment. He seems to always have composure whenever the moment is big in clutch moments like that.
I don't know if y'all remember when we were talking about quarterbacks in the group, and we were talking about quarterbacks. I made the comment that I think Caleb is good, but I think that Caleb has held his team back. If that makes, I can't remember my exact words. I know Ant remember because we talked about it on the show. I said I think that Jaden wins despite his team and stuff, and Caleb wins. I forget how I put it, but it was like Caleb wins, but it's not necessarily he needs that team to win, but it's like Jaden wins, doesn't matter what the team is. If that may, I can't remember my exact word, but it was something to that extent of like it was like the defense. Both of them had terrible defenses, but it's like one seemed to excel his team, and the other one was like, we win the games we should win.
Looking back at some of the pre-draft narratives, everything that everyone was trying to hype Caleb Williams up as is what Jaden Daniels was.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing with Caleb was like the hope was that they could rein in all the off script stuff.
Yeah, the theatrics and stuff.
If you could rein it in, oh man, the kid could throw the rock. He could toss the bill. That's never. It's just can you just work within the flow of the offense? Yes, we're not. Of course.
What make you think you can rein it in if we saw him in college for 3 years not be reined in?
So God, I'm gonna get in trouble by saying this. There was a quarterback that did it, and you know how the league is: monkey see, monkey do. Like Mahomes was not the most polished guy coming out. He wasn't. True. I know.
That's fair. That's fair, but I mean,
they were hoping they can get like that's what teams are. This is like just like the running back / receiver run at the catch guy, get him in like. That's just a thing now. These are the DJ Moores. That's like a type. But then that's why people went high on Malachi Corley, because they're like, hey, listen, he might not be a polished route runner, but if we get the ball in space, let him work. He turned into a running back after the catch. So now everybody wanted it. And then, it's just, and now Brock is going to have Harold Fannin probably go really, really high. It just, People just
You know what? You know
baller
what's
though,
funny?
man.
And I talked to someone about this today. Shout out to my guy Bill. Like you guys know, like the biases in like pro comps. Like
Yeah.
they're always going to compare a white
Yeah.
wide receiver to Jordy Nelson or Cooper Kupp. They're always going to compare a black quarterback to a
Yep.
black quarterback.
Wes Welker.
Do you really know? Like you heard all these like Cam Newton comparisons for Caleb Williams, which was outrageous for one, but he was really more like Baker Mayfield, where they are the exact same size. They played very similar, where Baker was very reckless and loose with the ball and trying to get out of the pocket. And
Mhm.
they both, Baker can spin it. Like, let's not fool. Like, Baker might have the
Yeah, he
liver
can.
arm,
Yeah.
but they played very similar in just terms of like gunslinger style, because that's what Lincoln Riley wanted. It might just take Caleb a little bit of time, like Baker now, who's balling in the league, to find his rhythm and calm down and find the right system. And let's just be fair, no one was going to Chicago and succeeding. I don't care if you gave
that's
them
true.
prime Tom Brady. I don't know if they're going to win with the team that they had.
Yeah, that's true. But my problem was the automatic anointing of Caleb Williams. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, to me, there was nothing. And we do this almost every year with a quarter. Like, we hadn't really did it this year. You know what I mean? Because the quarterback class isn't that hot or whatever. But like next year, it'll be Villar, or it's gonna be somebody that they hype up to be this can't miss prospect, and because of what he did in college, and you know what I mean. But the fact of the matter is, 90% of quarterbacks who get drafted are only good situation that they go to.
Yep. You go.
Like we just talked about Bo Nix. If Bo Nix gets drafted to any other team, if he gets drafted to Minnesota, if he gets drafted somewhere, he's probably not as good. But because he's got Sean Payton and he had the running game that he had, and he had the defense that he had, you know, he was able to win games. Jaden Daniels, if he's not with Cliff Kingsbury, is he as good? It's such for quarterbacks, and we got to stop putting quarterbacks up like they just generational prospect and can go to any situation and win. Like this, what's around them don't matter. Matt Eberflus was the head coach in Chicago. No quarterback was finna go there and win with a defensive coordinator and head coach, bro. I'm sorry, it wasn't happening.
Well, they doing it for your boy at LSU. They tried it. They tried it with Garrett. They did for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, they had like what top 5 grades on Nussmeier.
That boy Nussmeier was going first round and all this kind. Then that Texas A&M game happened, and they was like, "Nah, we gonna pump
just
the
like
brakes on that."
I bet you he gets the hype next year coming out too.
He's definitely gonna get the hype next year. Let him throw for 303 touchdowns the first game of the season.
Ewers,
they already saying
Ewers, Milroe, and Beck were forced down people's throat the whole summer. Now look at us. Wait, one went back to school. The second one, we don't know. Honestly,
the other two should have went back to school. I'll say it for you. They should have went back to school.
Kyle McCord, just throwing it. Just throwing it out.
Hey, let me ask y'all this. Bill Howard.
God, I mean, if you have a guy, he'll be somebody's, hey man, quarterback got dinged up. You know, we need you for like a 3-game stretch. Can you just run our offense? It has to be a very tailored offense, a very tailored system to what he's good at. I think if he has the right weapons around him, then he could get them the ball. I just think with him, I just didn't see consistent accuracy, consistent ball placement. It just wasn't consistent enough for me to say, hey, all right, because, you know, here we go again. You know, they was like, oh, man, this run to the playoffs, man. We think, you know, they started talking about day 2, early day 3. You might be a crazy person, say day 1, which is not happening. But I think he can run an offense. Now, is he going to be able to be that effective against? I don't think people just think these defensive coordinators in the NFL are just like light work. They're not. They're really. These guys are really good. They destroy young quarterbacks. That's why what Jaden did this year was really like. And they're good. They get paid a lot of money to stop guys like that. So, like those defensive schemes, those different coverages, those different disguises, like I would be in hell if I ever try to throw against the Vikings right now. Like, do you see how you saw how they had like 6 guys line of scrimmage, they rolled the cover 2? Like, it's just the craziest stuff ever. That messes up a lot of young quarterbacks. It messes up a lot of guys that are older. So,
I mean, Sam Darnold been in the league for a while, and you seen what the Lions did to him that last game of the season.
It was Sam Darnold. I just want to throw that out
even
there.
better-
I don't
even-
know what the expectation was
I
there.
bet it ain't got. It's just the fact that he's a veteran quarterback. You know what I mean? Like we've seen plenty of veteran quarterbacks have rough games with G Point though. These DCs, they pretty damn good at their
Man,
job.
Spagnuolo at KC is just bro. They got to lock him up for some of the stuff he goes out there and runs, but it works too.
I love it,
bro. Him and Flores in Minnesota, bro. They run some of the most exotic shit I've ever seen, bro.
I'll say him.
Oh, and D'Amico Ryans in Houston, he runs some crazy because he got them 2 edge rushers that are able to allow him to be able to do crazy shit.
If Vance Joseph could get some dudes, man, his defense would be even better. He's calling good stuff. He just don't have
he got that back end help him a lot though. You know what I'm saying?
But I just want him to get some dudes in the front 7 like that and really turn up his defense. Like these quarterbacks is gonna be some reaches. It's just the nature of the business, man. But I would just say for the
what about Jackson Dart down there at the Senior Bowl?
Zach, go ahead, Zach.
Again, like kind of the same type of, like I'll say this. I think because to me, I think it's the top 2, and then like nobody else is going to be a starter in the NFL.
Yeah,
is really how I feel about the class. But if I had to pick a sleeper, it would be a guy like Jackson Dart.
That's why I think he's the best of the rest.
Just because of the bag he brings to the game, right? Because I look at like a guy like, I didn't think Bo Nix was going to start, but a guy who has a very similar bag, is a playmaker, comes from a system where he gets trained to do a whole lot of stuff, is Jackson Dart. And I kind of like his moxie too. Yeah. I know it's not like fans hate saying that, but it's maybe not a tangible thing, but guys who actually have watched the game, moxie's a real thing for a quarterback. And I do think Jackson Dart has that. But bro, listen, I'm not drafting someone in the first round based on best case scenario. He's an average starter in the NFL. Like if someone gets him day 3 and he develops into something, that'd be fine. I'm even fine with like a late day 2 if like you really are just needing a quarterback. But I think Jackson Dart could be good if he goes to a good situation and sits behind somebody. That'd be the key to me, is like, and to me, that's what's wrong with the NFL. Everybody sees these rookie quarterbacks and they want to be Jaden Daniels. They want to be Cam Newton. They want to be, whoever, not remembering that some of the best quarterbacks had to sit to be good and had to learn and had to mature. Man, even when Peyton Manning got thrown into the fire, he was atrocious his first year. He was struggling, and eventually it clicked. People are too impatient. Year 2, if Caleb goes out next year for the Bears and doesn't play well, there's really going to be people saying they should trade him and go draft another, overvalued quarterback from the draft, and then throw, like, let's say Archie Manning or whoever you want to put in there. Let's throw him to the Wolves when he comes out. And it's going to be the same story over and over again.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind the Saints drafting Jackson Dart and letting him sit for like a year behind Derek Carr. Because I think if anybody is this year's Bo Nix, I think it's Jackson Dart, in terms of, they were successful in college, but wasn't, the best quarterback in college football. Still had great careers. They can move real well in the pocket and outside of the pocket, and they just got that it factor to it. Like they just a gamer. You know what I'm saying? Like Bo Nix, he'll lay it all on the line to go win that game, and Jackson Dart kind of gives me that same type of mentality. So I don't think he could start right away. I think one reason Bo Nix could, because he played 6 years of college or whatever it was. You know what I mean? Like he played more. He's older than half the quarterbacks in the league already. His rookie year. But I just think with Jackson Dart, if Jackson Dart sit for a year, I think he could be better than all the rest of the quarterbacks not named
So
Cam
you're
or
out
Shador.
on Spencer. Can the next head coach, who I think is going to be the OC, that's the OC of the Eagles, Moore can.
I'll let Kellen Moore get his say on the court. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with him. I'm cool with Kellen Moore saying, and I'm gonna see what I got in the room before I draft somebody. You know, and just running it this year with them two, just the following year go draft a quarterback whenever it's gonna be a million of them. What we think, you know, anyway, like you got Nussmeier, Klubnik, Drew Allard, Carson Beck, maybe Nico.
Who's the kid at Arizona State
that
that everyone loves? Is it Levitt?
No, it's Levitt. Yeah, Levitt. You know what I mean? You're gonna have a whole bunch of them coming out next year.
Good quarterback draft. This right here, if you can hit on a guy, that's great. But no one's really mad if you don't. So I think you could get a guy that may play some games for you. Maybe week 3. Who knows? He might start. That's what I'm saying. Like a Kyle McCord, he might be one of those like.
Kyle McCord is good option, bro.
Be able to spin it for you, and then like
Dylan Gabriel, you know what I mean, like a Dylan Gabriel.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah.
I just think he's too small, bro.
I don't love him. I'll be honest.
I can't do the 5'10". I can't do the 5'10".
Yeah.
Yeah, he's too
small,
bro.
And he struggles.
And he's not mobile enough.
Yeah, and
he's not mobile enough.
And he struggles when like defenses shift late, like when they disguise coverage as well. You just see like his brain shut down on the film and don't know where to go with the football. In the NFL, that's never going to work.
I can't do it. I wouldn't, but I know someone's going to, and that's fair. There's always one guy that believes they can make something out of any player they get. So it's going to happen. So he's going to probably be drafted day 3. Shouldn't be, I think that's a fair grade. He has the reps, I don't think he's another one. Has to be a very specific situation.
What about Brady Cook? I'm not high on him, but he started like 17 straight years at Missouri.
17 straight years is crazy.
But people said he had
he been there since Michael Sam was there.
Oh man. They said he had a good week. So I've been, I didn't get to watch him yet. They said he had a good week. So he's probably.
Well, I'm just saying, as far as like, I know his measurables ain't quite, what you would like in the NFL quarterback, but he wanted them, to me, Chase Daniels type quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Where like he a good backup and he capable, come in, run your system for you for a game or two. You know what I mean? But I don't know if he like NFL starter type guy.
It's
one of those like 16-year.
Maybe he might be like the former Missouri quarterback, career like that. Start a few games here and there for a team in transition, and be kind of a journeyman, but you never really a true starter.
If we're drafting guys like this, Cam Miller better get picked in like late day 3.
Like if that's what we're doing,
like
Cam Miller, that's the kid from
North Dakota State.
North Dakota State, yeah. Hey, is Trey Lance little brother coming? He's next year's draft, ain't it?
He has 2
years left.
Oh, he has 2 more years left.
Sophomore this year, I want to say.
Oh,
or a redshirt sophomore.
I thought he was a junior.
I hope they keep him.
Redshirt sophomore. Okay, yeah. I thought he could have came out this year, but
he announced he was coming back to North Dakota State.
That kid gonna be nice.
He's gonna be the best FCS receiving prospect.
Oh, he's gonna. I got to see him in person at the national championship. My guy Coach Fred was there on the sideline. He was so mad. He was like, "Man, we was like, their wide receiving room looks like ours, except for 5." Because listen, he just stands out. Like, because you guys have all been to games. Like, you can walk out on the field with no information on a team. You can point out the 5 best players.
Yeah,
and you can point out the NFL guys. Lance is an NFL wide receiver.
I agree.
His route running, his ability to win one-on-ones, like he's got the package. And coming into the year, he had 1 catch in his career.
Wow.
And then set the school record
would've
with like
never
20
known that.
touchdowns this year, and all of them came in the postseason damn near.
Dang.
Yeah, that dude's unreal, bro. His body control, bro,
Yeah.
is crazy, man.
So
Speaking go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead, Pooh.
no, go ahead. Go ahead. You go ahead.
I was gonna ask, we know a lot of guys leave the FCS level to because they feel like they get a better shot of making it from the P4 or G5 level.
I'm gonna do a clip with just
How
all
do y'all
Gerald
think-
faces.
Yeah, right, bro, right. I know, right. How do y'all think some of these guys are gonna fare this year, and do y'all think any of them made the right decision by moving up to
Jesus
higher
Christ, what a question!
I'm trying to still keep track of all this. Let's see.
I got to pull up the list because
Yeah.
damn, like we lost like 7,000 players. It feels
That
like.
man got a
Hey,
spreadsheet.
man, listen. Yeah, you have to, man. Trying to keep up with these guys is insane, man. Well, Morgan, we lost our top returning DB to UVA. So I
Yeah.
mean, great kid though. So I'm rooting for him. I don't care. That's just how I roll. I'm rooting for him. I'm not gonna ever tell you to stay in a situation you don't want to be in. That's not my style. But yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
But I think for him, so I always tell people it helps if you have more than 1 year left. If you're just gonna do a one and done, it's not really gonna help your stock much. You might get a little check, but is the check worth your stock? That's up to you. God. I mean, I don't, and like I said, the Gray, Carson, Marcus, those guys are like they trust me. I'm pretty sure if you show their DMs, there are a bunch of guys from P4 schools in there offering them tons of money, and they stayed. But those are different type of cats. Those aren't like that's not norm. Most of these are out. So I don't want people to think like just because Carson and Marcus and Gray and David and all those guys did it that's the norm. That's not going to happen as consistently as possible. So yes, that's why I was a little down on the FCS class. I was telling Zach because I just don't. It's just like. The guys are the guys. The guys you saw the All-Star games for the most part, outside of maybe a few, are probably the guys that have a chance of getting drafted. Like that's it. That's pretty much it. So, and that's what my spreadsheet is like. We had like 15 guys at bowl games, and that's probably what maybe half of that get drafted. Well, half, but maybe 7 or 8 get drafted. Maybe I think that's the number we came up with. So just. Like I said, don't use the outliers to formulate your whole opinion. I promise you're always going to end up wrong.
Yeah.
Always doing that.
Speaking of that, question came the linebacker from Grambling. How will he fare? I forget the kid's name. Went to South Carolina.
Andrew.
He's built from the cloth of a lot of these new linebackers. They are athletic. They're always about 5'11" to 6'1", about 225, 230 pounds. Run hit guys, pretty solid in coverage. They good in tight spaces, but outside once they start getting because he's going to Ole Miss now.
South Carolina. Oh no, he switched from South Carolina.
He committed to South Carolina, then he flipped to Ole Miss.
Right. Yeah,
okay,
I forgot about
so he has to deal with SEC offensive linemen on a weekly basis. So the biggest thing with him is one, his tackling in open field, and two, being able to get off blocks consistently from offensive line. And I seem to say that about a lot of linebackers with that build. I say it about Aaron Smith. I say it about like Teddy Buchanan from Cal. It don't matter the level. Those guys, those certain body types, they don't always do a good job of shocking and shedding within the confines of the interior. So that's always going to be their knock. But if he has those big 3 guys in front of him, 4 guys in front of him, and let him just run around, be athletic, then we're talking about he's probably going to get every opportunity to get drafted. But like I said, that one and done thing is scary. So I hope he has more than 1 year left.
Yeah. All right.
No, he only got 1 year.
It's tough.
Let me add.
Go ahead. Sully Simpkins. Sorry. I guess he's a HBCU grad, so he's an FCS grad, so we got to show love to him. He got his NFL Combine invite. No Senior Bowl, no Shrine. No. So yeah, Torricelli, he's probably going to get drafted, so he'll be now. North Carolina Central I had to really start to sit and think, like, they've been getting some guys in the league the past decade. Ryan Smith, Brian Stills, Brad
Codgerton.
was just an all rookie team. Like, and they about to get Torricelli Simpkins. Oh, I'm sorry. They got Corey Bullock that been on the Ravens practice squad. And Jamari Taylor's probably gonna get drafted next year too. So
Yeah.
That's sleeping. I was shocked when I really looked at it. Like, okay, Central, they got something cooking right there. They do.
Yeah. So let me ask this. I got two before we get out. I'm gonna ask this one, and if you got another one,
I'm good. You go ahead.
all right. We've talked about a lot of guys. Name to watch during these bowl games, during the Shrine and also Senior Bowl. That may not necessarily be a notable, because they're NCAA put out a list of notable names, to watch for, and they had some FCS guys and stuff, but some names from or a name or a guy to actually watch that, saying we may see get a chance on Sundays.
I guess, but see, everybody kind of knows about these guys now. It sucks. The good ones are like, they're showing that they're good. So I will say keep an eye on Carter Runyon from Towson. He had a pretty solid week. He is going to get open because he does a good job getting open against linebackers. He uses his size, more his quickness to do it. I would say keep an eye on him. And Isaac Waxter, keep an eye on him too. Pretty solid week. At Shrine, show the physicality. He's big. They had him placed outside at corner. He was able to stay in phase. He looked a little stiff, but end of the day, they keep him in quarters, keep him in cover 3. That's his body. He's one of those old school Seahawks kind of outside corners, physical, cover 3, sink with balance kind of guys. So Zach, unless you have somebody that hasn't done well in the FCS, that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a guy who's done well, but we really didn't talk about him, Jackson Slater.
Yeah.
Sacramento State offensive lineman at the Senior Bowl, man, had a really, really good week, man. Played some center, started like 40, 50 games at guard for Sac State, consensus All-American, got the weight on him, man. He was strong in one-on-ones, man. And he did there was one play where they ran kind of like an outside zone. And man, the way he got up to the second level and I mean, he broke the entire playoff just from him getting up to the second level and getting to the linebacker. Again, we kind of talked about earlier. Efton Chisholm is a guy who, coming into the draft process, no one talked about. And me and Gerald recorded an episode. I told him after, I was like, listen, man, I'm surprised Efton Chisholm didn't get an invite.
Yeah.
Right after the show, he gets an invite and he goes down to the Shrine Bowl and starts killing people. And so that'd be a guy I would watch. And maybe Keandre Jackson, man. I talked to a few people. He's a guy who me and Gerald, neither of us have watched much film on him. Just kind of went to the Hula Bowl, I want to say. Did so well there. Got a Senior Bowl invite. Kid's like 6'2", 211, 215, super long arms.
Yeah.
It got the physical build, but deep. He plays more like that deep safety look. I don't think you're going to bring him in the box much. Kind of a cover guy on the back end, but not a lot of film on him. But he had a really good week. And I talked to a few guys today. Most intriguing FCS prospect to a lot of guys. No one really knew about him, but when he walks in a room, you're like, that guy's probably should be playing at the next level. So I'm hoping the film matches up with what he's been putting on the field this week.
All right, I lied. I actually got two more. The next one, as both y'all, we've had a lot of, especially Gerald, you being in the MEAC, we've had a lot of new coaching hires. SWAC, MEAC, HBC football as a whole. Favorite offseason hire so far?
Let's see.
Oh God!
How do I answer this without?
How about this?
He's got to pick someone in the SWAC. He can't pick a
MEAC.
MEAC.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, Jared, go ahead and pick a SWAC team, and Zach, or Jared, you can text Zach your MEAC and
call
Zach
on a friend.
I mean, man, I will say, I can't. I'm not even gonna run. I can't run from it. End of the day, man, like I give credit when credit is due. They put together a pretty strong staff. Like I'm not one of those guys. Like I'm a realist. Like he put together a good staff. The staff is solid. Staff has a lot of experience, but I think a low one that just it may not be a big name, but it just works. Is I just like guys who go to programs and they find ways to win. So I'm gonna give credit to Sam Shade at A&M. And I've always said
I do too.
A&M was never, and y'all have watched, y'all can agree. They've always had talent, if not the best, most outside of maybe Jackson and Florida A&M the past 3-4 years. They've had the most talented roster in HBCU football, and I say that pretty often. So it was never a talent thing. They're doing great with the recruiting, so I don't think that's going to fall off. It was just something culturally, maybe schematically, I don't know. But I think Sam Shade, a guy that has shown to build up a program and win, you give him a shot. I know, it's not a splash hire, but it's it's a good one.
I think it was a splash. I honestly think here it was a splash just simply because one thing A&M faithful have complained about is not recruiting the Birmingham area as much as they used to.
Mm-hmm.
And they've had more success when they've done that, recruited state, especially the Birmingham area, and then you just pulled a coach from the Birmingham area that was coaching in the Birmingham area. So I agree with that. Zach, what you got?
I would probably say Tremaine at PV. Listen, man, I mean, at the end of the day, people can say what they want about celebrity hires, splash hires. Give me the guy who can get the championships. And give me the guy with the most wins, and give me the guy who has experience at every level. Man, like Tremaine to me was here's what I was nervous about. PV came out and kind of like put the cart before the horse. Like, we want to compete nationally, we want to do this, and I was like, okay, like that's cool. Say that. Who are you hiring though? Because their hire was going to tell me all I needed to know about if they were serious about it. Because I've heard some names where if they would announce that person, they wouldn't have. They weren't serious about competing nationally. But when you hire a guy like Tremaine Jackson, who has been to national championships, who has recruited well, who has won everywhere he's went, man, he won at Colorado Mesa. You know how hard it is to win at Colorado Mesa. Like, so to me, it was him. Also, too, I don't know if he's going to win. I'll be honest. Like, anyone who tells you they know a coach is going to be successful is a liar.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Vick in Norfolk State was a match made in heaven. And I don't know if he's going to win a lot of games, but guess what? There's going to be a whole lot of eyes. There's going to be a whole lot of money made. There's going to be a whole lot of new players and recruits coming in. And I thought he's done a pretty good job building a staff. To me, I like the OC hire. I know there was some pushback on it, but if you just go watch the film from Old Dominion when he was there at the FCS level, they were putting it on people. And I mean, I want to say that was when Taylor Heineke was there too. So I'd be very curious to see the type of quarterback that they roll out there, just because I think the quarterback that works well in his system is not the quarterback. Because this is what I hate. Vic's the head coach. That doesn't mean they need to go find a Michael Vick clone to be quarterback. Go get the quarterback that's going to win you games. Vic's not calling the plays. Get the quarterback that fits the system. And so I think those two hires kind of stand out to me. I mean, I guess an honorable mention would be Sam Shade, though. I kind of agree with everything y'all said. A&M, too talented to be losing to Valley and Bethune-Cookman and all these average teams with less talent. I think Sam Shade was the right hire for them. And to me, it was a no-brainer. I know everyone wanted them to hire a celebrity. If you let Sam Shade go another coaching search round without getting a D1 job, it would have kind of been a travesty, man. And because he earned it. Let's just be honest.
They had to hire anybody that played for the Baltimore Ravens. It would have been a ride. I'm just gonna say.
So we saying PV had the best Jackson hire of the cycle?
Right behind South Dakota State.
Fair. I bet David Jackson said, I think PV or Valid, to be honest. I don't know.
Valley thing
I'm gonna be honest.
Is about, are they going to give him what he needs?
Yep.
Like, I'm sorry. Like,
I don't know if they can, bro.
It's like there's so many other conversations we have to have about the Valley job. Guys, they could have hired us four to be co-head coaches. It would have been the same if they hired Bill Belichick. Bro, you don't have a full allotment of scholarships, the lowest budget in D1 athletics, the one of some of the worst facilities. Like, what do you want me to do? Like you can go hire the best chef in the world, but if all the ingredients suck, you can't make a good meal.
Yeah.
It's not fair. It's not fair. But you know, I'm not here to rank on him. I just hope that they're giving him an opportunity to get just give him an opportunity, because you know Valley was at least competitive for a good little stretch, like from like 2018 about 2022, 23-ish. They were competitive at least. And now it's just like, God, it's just like it's hard.
Coach Jansen need another raise.
Oh, shoot.
You know what's funny? Okay, and this is way off topic here. Why does everyone like view Dancy like he was winning 6 games a year at Valley? Like he won more than 2 games like once. Like why is like I've heard people say like he should get a statue. He was winning at Valley, or he was getting his ass kicked like every other coach who's coached at Valley in the past 2 decades.
It was they just I'm not making an excuse for that. I'm just gonna say they look different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
They played different.
The competitiveness was there. You could see,
yeah, because he was 10-38 over like 5 seasons and only won 2 games.
Yeah, but they played hard in those 38.
Yeah, there you go. There's 38 games, but they've only lost by 1 score, so we got to get it.
All right, man. Look, as always, man. I always, you know, I you know what I'm saying, love you brothers to death. Appreciate y'all for always coming through. Gerald, this is the last one. And it's more of a statement. We talked about the Niz Williams at the beginning of the season, and you said, I think the Sweat needs to try to get him one because it's gonna be looking bad. And my comment to you was, yeah, I don't think I see anybody in the Sweat right now who I think can. And to your credit, you said, I'm gonna be honest, I think Burgess got a shot.
It was his to lose. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was his and Rob McDaniels to lose. I've been vocal about that. The only thing about Rob, I would say the only thing that knocked Rob got hot at the wrong time. Like Rob was like consistent, you know what I mean? It was okay, but then he went to like the last month of the football season, he lost. But at that point, you know, the votes had to go in. But James is the most consistent throughout the year. I'm actually heading down to Oklahoma on the 3rd to go kick it with him, his family, Coach James Williams, and I'll be down in Oklahoma to celebrate him. But he deserved it. I mean, the kid, I mean, he's a snub. I mean, he went to Hula. He definitely. I know Zach's been in Mobile. I was in Dallas. Could he have been there and competed for sure? Yeah. Like without a doubt. So he'll be fine. And then, you know, like I was telling Zach before, the HBCU Combine and Legacy Bowl is going to have a pretty good roster. I don't think we're going to have Aaron Smith and Carson. Carson doesn't need to do Legacy now. If he wants to come do Combine, maybe interview or something, he has every right to do that. He probably doesn't have to, but if he wants to come, sure. Don't think they're going to play in the game. But outside of that, I'm going through the initial roster for the HBCU Combine, and there's guys here, man. Like we have a lot of guys. Like the running backs are deep, the DBs are deep. And I would probably say, it's the DBs and the running backs. I mean, talking about Kenny Gallup, Rob McDaniel, Carson Hinton, Kendall Bowler, James Burgess, Carl. Like those guys in the running back classes, Elijah Burris, Jaden Sutton, Jada Byers, Donovan Eaglin, Herb Mulligan, Jared Hunter. Those are guys that's deep. You know, so I like it. So
I like that.
Yeah, so
we might actually get some points this year.
No comment.
hey, whatever you do not design any quarterback runs.
None.
No quarterback runs.
Listen, I told Gerald this.
None.
Listen,
not
Elijah,
a single one.
They're gonna have to take Elijah Williams off the field in handcuffs by day 2. I'm calling it.
Yeah,
he's going to murder somebody. Like what you saw Mike Green do today, that's going to be Elijah Williams every rep. The fact that he's going to this game against some of the O-linemen they have, listen, it's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, he's going to do his thing.
He won't lose a rep. I'll put money on it. He isn't going to lose a one-on-one rep the entire week.
So seeing him in person is just like, wow. Like you have to see it in person. I would, if everybody here could come well, obviously, I'm sure y'all be there. Please, like, y'all have to be there for that. I need y'all to see Elijah in person if y'all haven't before. It's unreal because you don't expect it. You look at him, you're like, but man, we line him up everywhere. He literally just finds ways to. Please come watch him in person. It'll confirm everything that you probably already believe about him on tape. I promise.
Yeah. All right. Before we let y'all go, you know what we do. Let y'all, get your shout outs. So we'll start with businessman in all the HBCU sports. Coach G, go ahead and let them know where they can find
you. Twitter and Instagram, I think, is the same. Coach _ Huggins the second. You can check my articles out. Oh God, how many? So I'm trying to start writing my articles again with draft HBCU players. Lord have mercy, I've been slacking on that. And you can find me with Blue Bloods also. I write articles for the FCS. I have some scout reports coming out. I got to catch up on some guys that performed in the All-Star circuit. What else do I have going on? I think that might be it. Oh, and also it's National Scout now with Shrine. I meant to tell you, my bad. I should have told you ahead of time, but it's National Scout, not Scouting Assistant. So I had to get that right. But outside of that, man, like I just hope all y'all are there in New Orleans. This is my first year actually like helping with the personnel, fully hoping with the personnel for the HBCU Combine and stuff. So I'm very happy like the group of guys we put together. So I just want y'all to be able to see that in person. It was great putting that together. So I appreciate y'all bringing me on as always, man.
All right. Gerald making up new positions and stuff. All right, go ahead, Zach.
I thought I was busy till I met Gerald. I was gonna say that first, but nah, man, you can find me the Blue Bloods on YouTube, all podcast streaming platforms. FCS Football Central on SI, myself, Timothy Rosario, Gerald, Coach Fred will be on me, be with me on the Blue Bloods. Man, just covering the NFL draft. We'll have scouting reports, highlights from all the All-Star games, and this will be I guess third or fourth year, whatever year it is for the Legacy Bowl, man. We'll be down there all week long covering the Combine, Legacy Bowl, all that. That's next up on the list, man. And then we'll move into, I guess, the actual NFL draft. And then after that, get right back into previews, man. No all season over here. But again, appreciate y'all having me.
As always, fellas, truly appreciate y'all coming through. And we got one more thing to do before we get up out of here. But fellas, if y'all want to hang around, y'all can. But we got to do our top 5 and let the people know what it is.
Oh, I bet.
We do our top 5. We can get up out of here. But appreciate y'all.
Appreciate y'all, fellas.
Later, guys.
All right. All right. And this week's top 5. I gotta get drum roll. Look, we gotta take notes on stuff we need. We gotta get the hand claps back, and we gotta get drum roll. All right, and this week top 5, everybody. Top 5 LSU game winners. And we can do We'll start with honorable mentions. Honorable mentions: the Can't See Me game, 2007 versus Auburn. If everybody remembers, Les Miles let the clock run all the way down to about like 7 seconds. Then they actually ran a play. They were down 3. Everybody thought it was just gonna kick a field goal. Threw a pass, caught in the back of the end zone. Demetrius Byrd, with if I believe 2 seconds left, to upset, not to get the upset, but to get the big win over Auburn. I'll never forget this game. I had just moved to Montgomery, and I was celebrating. Walked outside, and all I heard was Auburn people screaming. And a young man said, "Damn it, they do this to us every year." Next honorable mention on the basketball court. This came last year. The tie tip in, Tyrell Ward with the tip in versus Kentucky to get the win.
Yeah.
Next honorable mention, not so fast Tennessee. The 2010 versus Tennessee game where LSU, T-Bob Hebert snapped the ball with no time left on the clock. It went wild. LSU jumped on it. Tennessee restoring the field. But then it was a penalty because Tennessee had 13 men on the field. LSU got the ball back. Stephen really got the ball on the toss dive over the left side into the end zone to win that game. The next honorable mention, Big Stick Steve. This was also from last year. This was the 2004 SEC tourney where Stephen Milam hit the walk-off home run to beat South Carolina, propelling them into the SEC championship, where they eventually lost in a close battle with Tennessee. And then the last honorable mention, the fall game. I could have called it shoe fly, but this is the game where in 2020. Now, technically, it wasn't necessarily a walk-off game winner, but golly, I can't think of the kid's name now.
K York.
K York. Yeah, kicked the field goal in the fall to win this game. I don't think so. Coach Green asked, "Are we doing a show for signing day for the SWAC?" I don't know. We could.
That's next week. That's next week.
We could look into that. Okay, I don't know. I hadn't kept up. Possible. We'll stay with us, Coach Green. We'll let you know. Before we get to the top 5, Precious say Jamarcus in the Arizona State in 2005. That would have been a good one. That's actually That's actually a pretty good one. But let's go ahead and get into the top 5. At 5 is actually a tie, and both of them against Auburn. So 2018, the Kick Tracy game. Cole Tracy kicked the 42-yarder to beat Auburn. And if I'm not mistaken, LSU ended up donating a lot of money to Assumption. Where Cole Tracy came from. The next was the earthquake game in 1988. Well, LSU scored and ended up, the crowd was so loud, had a seismic event registered across campus, and ended up winning that game 7-6. At number 4, we got the Tommy Tanks walks it off in 2023 College World Series versus Wake Forest. This game sent LSU into the College World Series, where they eventually took on Florida and won that one 2-1. Number 3, Sweetwaters. Tremont Waters hit a layup in the 2019 NCAA tournament, beating Maryland, propelling LSU to the Sweet 16 for the first time, I think, in a decade. When they beat Maryland, they eventually lost to the eventual champs in Michigan State that year in the very next round in DC. Number 2, this one probably would have been number 1, but you can't top number 1 if you're an LSU fan. Number 2, we were both at this game. Run, Jaden, Run, 2022 versus Bama. 2-point conversion in overtime to win it. LSU stormed the field. Great time, great game. I don't even know if that game still lives on in infamy. And number 1, it's hard to top this one. This was the only one that was a walk-off that or a game winner that led to a championship. Walk it off Warren, the 1996 College World Series with the home run to beat Miami and bring LSU and Skip Bertman another national championship. If I'm not mistaken, that might have been his last. Was that his last? That was his last one he won.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
My list a little different than yours.
All right. Go ahead. What you got?
Some ours are gonna be the same. You could pick from, but so my honorable mention, I got the Stephen Milam home run last year. I got Tremont Waters buzzer beater versus Texas A&M, the dagger 3-point shot he hit. And then chill out, Pressure. And then
that is a good one. How did I forget that one?
And my other honorable mention is the earthquake game At number 5, I got the Alabama game where Jaden did the run. The one we was at. At number 4, I got the Bluegrass Miracle.
I forgot. I
Hell
completely
of a
forgot
play.
about what a
Hell of a
play.
play.
Yeah.
At number 3, I got the Tommy Tanks walk-off home run versus Wake Forest in the College World Series. At number 2, I'm surprised you didn't have this one. Brad Crease, the College World Series in Game 5 of the College World Series. And then number 1, obviously, is because Brad Creasy won the World Series too in 2000 with that walk-off hit. And then Warren Morris, obviously, he hit a walk-off homer. But either way, that the homer, I put the homer above the hit, but they got to be 1 and 2 just because they both won World Series.
Okay, so Creasy was Creasy the last one for Bertman then? Okay, so that was the last one for Bertman. Okay. Oh man, that's some good stuff, man. That's some good stuff. Next we might have to do top 5 game winners ever outside of LSU. That'll be hard. That'll be hard. That's too many. Nah, we'll come up with something else. Man, I want to thank Gerald and Zach for coming through, man. Always got, great knowledge and great conversation, especially when it comes to FCS and HBCU, insights into, draft process, thoughts and all that. So, like I said, I always appreciate them coming through. And you got anything else before we get ready to get up out of here?
Nah, that's all I got, but dog.
Hey, man, want to tell everybody thank you for tuning in. Please do us a favor. Go like, subscribe, follow, share. We've been stuck at 950 or something like that for a long time, and I'm ready to get past that. We can move on, hit this 1K real quick. I don't know if it's gonna be a big difference or we see a feel different, but
send it to your people.
Yeah, send it to your people. Some of y'all send it to
your tax lady.
Yeah. Matter of fact, it is tax season. Matter of fact, send it to your senator when you also call them and complain about things you don't like that's going on. Tommy Tuberville need to watch. We need to talk about his. Never mind. Anyway, I'm going to get the theme music going. Yeah, appreciate everybody. We'll be back one of them days. If you subscribe, you'll know. Hit that notification bell. Like that, we out. This show was presented by betonline.ag.
Bring me my money.
You can find the Golden Boot Podcast on YouTube at Golden Boot. On Twitter at Golden Boot. On Instagram at Golden Boot. On Facebook at the Golden Boot Pod. On TikTok at Golden Boot. Or listen on all streaming platforms. Golden Boot!